I contacted the Washington State Attorney's Office, and you can look at 4B. There's a file number in there. I'm basically trying to get involved. I contacted members of Congress, House Oversight Committee platforms. That's in 4C and 4C1. And I also spoke with chat agents on Instagram.
All right, now we've got next in line, we've got Ms. Vasquez for Meta Platforms. So where I'm at is it looks like Mr. Hassan is claiming an amount of $10,000 owed on December 13th, 2025. Based on the claim, it indicates damages associated with, and there's some other comments, but it's summarizing damages associated with a wrongful account disablement that led to some loss of economic access and economic harm. In response to that, Meta Platforms uploaded a terms of use policy that I'm sure we'll get some comments about from Ms. Vasquez. So that's what I've been able to view from the file. So with that in mind, Mr. Hassan, if you could please raise your right hand. Okay, so you can walk through these. These weren't in the files of yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to review these.
Okay, that's fine. I'll basically just go over it again. My name is Mo Hassan. I'm the plaintiff in this matter, and I'm bringing this small claims case against Meta Platforms regarding the permanent disablement of 2 Instagram accounts that I owned and operated. The case is not.
Well, and let me pause there, Mr. Hassan. So the court received this today. When did you file it?
December 30th.
Okay. Okay, and then Ms. Vasquez, the document. So Mr. Hassan here has uploaded a number of documents. Is that something that did you get this before today? Are these documents you've been able to review?
I think we saw that Mr. Hassan sent something today, and we were able to look at it.
So again, this case is not about basically politics, ideology, or forcing me to host its concepts, but procedural inconsistencies, lack of transparency, and economic harm caused when large platforms like Meta basically can't follow their own standard frameworks. The reason I'm mentioning this is because I have several different accounts that I operate on Mo Wandering, which was established back in December of 2012. That's a public account focused on international travel. It's got over 9,000 followers. You can see that on Exhibit 1A, 1A1, and 1A2. That account is in good standing. Anyone can basically see it. There's no limits to the Instagram reach, and it's followed by minors because it hosts travel photos. That account is currently active on Facebook. Nomadic Husker was established in September of 2018. It's a private account that I basically use for international travel, but only for family that don't want other people to see that. That account is also active on Instagram. Husker Softball Network, that was established February of 2025, a little over a year ago. That is a public account focused on women's collegiate softball, followed by the Nebraska head coach herself and several players on the team. That account is currently active on Instagram and Facebook. Sports Couch Potato is a private account that I use for everything else to basically communicate with basically recruits and stuff like that. And then Chasing Volleyballs is another account that I also use for my own private use. Both of those 2 accounts that I mentioned, Sports Couch Potato and Chasing Volleyballs, those are all active on the account. Husker Volleyball Network is the one I'm talking about here. That was established in January of 2025. That focused on women's indoor volleyball. It had 11,500 followers at the time that it was disabled. It was tied to my Mo Wandering account, which again, like I said, it was established almost a little over 13 years ago. And it's also tied to my Facebook account, which has 80,000 followers on it. That's Exhibit 1, if you look at that, and Exhibit 1B. So the other account that there was
disabled. You may want to, just so everyone can hear you, sure. The black box there, that's the microphone.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's just when it's covered, it's sometimes hard to hear folks. Go ahead.
The other account that made it disabled that I'm seeking damages for is Beach Volleyball Network. That was both focused on women's collegiate volleyball with 1,100 followers at the time of disabling. That's Exhibit 1C. Both accounts, Husker Volleyball Network and Beach Volleyball Network, published content exclusively related to women's volleyball, female athletes empowerment, recruiting visibility, and coverage of collegiate and USA indoor and beach volleyball. They served as an informational and promotional platform supporting women's sports. These accounts never ever contain any sexual content, graphic content, violent content, hate content, or political content. They were followed by several dozen Division I coaches, including Jamie Morrison, who just won the national title in collegiate volleyball, which I attended in Kansas City, Missouri, in December. It was followed by several hundred Division I athletes, including players on Team USA women's national team, some of the nation's top volleyball clubs, Legacy Volleyball, that won the national title for under 14, under 16 girls last year, along with Arizona Storm, who won the national title under 18. And I also collaborated with both of those clubs on several posts, along with high-profile powerhouses like TAB, SSCV, My Tribe Volleyball, NorCal Volleyball, etc. It was also followed by Love B, the co-founder Kevin Wong, who runs basically the Love B Professional Women's Volleyball League. He was following that, one of the co-founders. Media sports organizations like American Volleyball Network, Volleyball Magazine, Volleyball World USA, all of these accounts have over 100,000 followers, which I've collaborated with them on posts. These media organizations collaborate with me and other organizations like the NCAA and FIVB, which is the governing body of collegiate and international sports. It was followed by AVCA, the American Volleyball Coaches Association, which I had shared collaboration posts with, recognizing Coach of the Year, High School Player of the Year. It was followed by PrebDig, the largest national recruiting website in the country, which I had collaboration posts on recognizing top high school talent in the country. It was followed by Under Armour itself, the actual brand, which hosts the yearly high school girls all-star, including their event organizer, Ziva Blackman, who's one of my followers, which I had a few collaboration posts with her and videos leading up to the game in December before Meta disabled the account. This does not include any of the minors between 13 and 18 involved in volleyball that followed my account. Like I said, there was over 11,500 followers. Meta itself deemed my account safe for minors to follow without parental consent due to its content. You can see that in Exhibit 1-A2. If the court would find it helpful, I'm prepared to provide names and context of the accounts if they're restored or records are produced. However, because the accounts are disabled, I no longer have access to platform analytics or collaboration records. However, I can identify these relationships based on ongoing professional interactions that occurred prior to the disablement. If access is restored to my account, I can supplement this information. I know the court has no authority to order Meta to restore the accounts, which is why I'm seeking damages only. I've since the Husker Volleyball Network account was disabled, created a backup account called Husker Volleyball Network, and I'm submitting screenshots of some of these followers that followed me under the disabled account. If you look at Exhibit 2A and 2A1, that's Jamie Morrison, the Texas A&M head coach. Exhibit 2B and 2BA, there's Jennifer Oldberg. She's the Ohio State head coach and the current AVCA president. Exhibit 2C and 2C1, that's Brian Rosen, the Creighton volleyball head coach who made the Final Four last year. Exhibit 2D and 2D1, Giovanni Malo, Oregon assistant head coach. Exhibit 2E is Maya Ogavugo, the top 2020 high school prospect in the nation. She follows the account. Exhibit 2F is Ayanna Watson. She's a member of Team USA national team and a current Pittsburgh University player who made the Final Four last season. Exhibit 2G is Layla Ostavar, member of Team USA national team and a current USC player. 2H is Legacy Volleyball, who won the national title in club for girls under 16 and 14. These, Your Honor, are just some of the examples of over the 11,500 followers that followed my account, not including Coach Danny Busboom-Kelly of Nebraska herself, because like I said, it's Nebraska Huskers. That's Kelly herself, which is the top program in the country that other teams try to strive to.
Mr. Hassan, if I could just redirect you a bit. So sure. I understand you're sounds like you're laying a groundwork for your accounts being followed by lots of folks and all this. If you're able to tie in your testimony to
I'm getting to the timeline of disablement.
Okay, and the economic damage to that. Yeah, okay.
Timeline of the disablement. December the 12th, 2024, Exhibit 3A, if you look at that, Meta permanently disabled Husker Volleyball Network citing account integrity. I want you to keep that in mind. Without identifying any specific violation, 3A and 3A1. December 25, 24, Exhibit 1C, again, Meta permanently disabled Beach Volleyball Network, again citing account integrity without any explanation. No prior warnings were issued, no specific content was identified, no violation history was provided, no opportunity to correct or respond was offered before permanent disablement. I was informed that no further review was available and that my account data would be permanently disabled. I've made every good faith effort to resolve the issue, including opening multiple appeals. You can see that in 4A through 4A5. I contacted the Washington State Attorney's Office, and you can look at 4B. There's a file number in there. I'm basically trying to get involved. I contacted members of Congress, House Oversight Committee platforms. That's in 4C and 4C1. And I also spoke with chat agents on Instagram. The reason I mentioned this particular part here, Your Honor, this is why I'm seeking the economic damages. I received 2 phone calls from support agents, Exhibit 4D-12 and 4D-14.
The defense argues that the allegations are not supported by direct evidence, pointing out that there was no eyewitness and no physical evidence presented. But the prosecution maintains that the court has enough information to take the alleged violation seriously. Now the judge has to decide whether those concerns are enough to change the defendant's bond status.
Nothing they could do. Told me the only recourse possibly to get the accounts restored was legal action. The chat agent is the one that's telling me to file legal action against Meta. I informed the agent at the time it was always going to be my final option. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence to support the conversation other than a screenshot of the calls, but the Meta agent told me that they record all phone calls, so Meta should have a copy of that recording. They made multiple barriers to support the contact support. The only way you can actually get a hold of support is actually purchasing a membership. So it cost me money to purchase that. There's where some of the economic damage is coming in from. The Meta subscription starts at $15 a month. That's a very basic one. Basically, all you can do is chat with an agent. If you want actual support, you have to pay the higher level one, which is $49.99 up to upwards of $4.99 for a subscription. So that's where some of the economic damage comes in. They've also obstructed data access obstruction. There's the economic damage right there. Meta publicly states that users can access and export their data. In practice, Meta allowed me to export data from my active Instagram account, but this would not allow me to download my information from all my collaborative posts from my disabled accounts. So the data export system does function. My credentials function. The obstruction only applies to disabled accounts. I want to get back to the account integrity and platform inconsistency. Meta stated that the disablement was based on account integrity, specifically alleging that users may not bypass enforcement by creating new accounts. Neither one of these accounts were created to bypass any enforcement. Both accounts were almost a year old. My Facebook account is linked to my Instagram account, which is linked through Meta's own account center. That's Exhibit 1, which has existed for over 13 years. If the alleged allegation was identity-based or user-based, the same enforcement would reasonably apply across all linked platforms. All my Instagram accounts and my Facebook accounts and my pages would have been disabled. Instead, they targeted these two specific accounts. My linked Facebook account and other pages, including Husker Volleyball Network on Facebook, has still remained active. Even though they've disabled it on Instagram, it's still remaining active on Facebook. That's Exhibit 7B-E. No explanation was provided why this selective enforcement was applied, why they disabled it on Instagram but not on Facebook. That inconsistency raises a reasonable question regarding how Meta applies its account integrity policy and whether enforcement is applied uniformly or with adequate factual basis. Now, I gave Meta an opportunity to respond back to this. Like I said, this was filed in December 30th of 2025. Meta did not respond back to me until March the 10th, stating that they need to know what these two accounts that I'm filing in the lawsuit. I sent them screenshots on March the 10th of the Husker Volleyball Network and the Facebook Beach Volleyball Network. If you look at Exhibit 11, you'll see that they went ahead and disabled an account called mattrule.rules. That was disabled the day after I sent them screenshots. It took them an entire week to respond back to me and saying the reason now that they're disabling the accounts is because of high profile impersonation. Didn't bother to give me an idea what the impersonation was until last night when they sent me a screenshot showing what the profile was. Now this account, sir, that they're talking about, mat.rules, that's a parody account. That's just a meme account. I'm sure you know what that is. If you look at the screenshot of the actual, let me go back to it here.
If I may just take a minute
Sure.
to try and summarize where I think you're going.
Yeah.
Because I do want to make sure we have time to get over to Ms. Vasquez as well.
Sure.
So it sounds like you've got a number of these high profile accounts.
Mm-hmm.
They were removed or deleted, disabled, whatever the terminology
Mm-hmm.
is. You, according to the terms of use, you engaged with the help center,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of starts that process of
Correct.
disputing a deletion.
Mm-hmm.
And as part of that, accessing that help center to sort of make your case, you're saying you incurred some costs.
Correct.
And that's where that's from the economic damage comes from. Okay. And so now,
Well, that's one of them.
okay, that's one of them.
Yep.
And then, so you paid for the services in order to go through the help center
Correct.
to to argue about the legitimacy.
Disablement, correct.
Okay. All right. And so at this point, what you're telling me is that some of your other cases, some of your other accounts were being deleted around this time.
Correct.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, go ahead. I just want to make sure I was.
So on, like I said, on December the 11th, they disabled the account matt.roll.rolls, which is, like I said, was a parody account. The whole purpose of that account was to basically just make fun of do you know who Matt Rule is?
No.
If you were to go on an Instagram account and you saw there's 2 followers on there, and the account specifically states in the bio, this account is to troll other people, would you take that account seriously?
No.
Exactly.
Okay.
So Meta is going to use that as an excuse, as their only exhibit of why they disabled the account, because I'm going to read basically.
Well, so I do want to, though, I want to focus on, I understand there's a dispute around, the deletion of the account.
Yeah.
You've talked about economic damages with respect to using the help center.
Correct.
You said that was some of them.
Correct. The other one is, in order for you to monetize on anything with Facebook, you have to have over 10,000 followers. That's where the economic damage is. Once you hit $10,000, you can monetize on Reels, on posts, on shared collaboration posts. Once you do that, you can pretty much, that's where the economic does. It took me almost an entire year to build that 10,000 base follower. Once you do that, you can monetize on that. That's where the economic damage comes in from. And that's what the Beach Volleyball Network was also targeting, because that same network, like I said, the same account had 1,100 followers. It only had been around for about 8 months. I was trying to get up to that 10,000 followers.
Okay. All right. So I think so. If I can summarize again, then, and then I do want to turn it over to Ms. Vasquez,
Sure.
and then we will come back to you, because I
Yeah.
know there's more you want to say. So it sounds like, again, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm summarizing your argument here. You were attempting to, or had built up followers to that 10,000 amount in order to monetize on content.
Correct.
The Meta platforms moved to disable or remove these accounts. You engaged the help center in order to dispute those being removed or deleted, and incurred some costs there. And so now it sounds like you're articulating some reasons why you feel these accounts were deleted improperly. But the crux of the monetary issue here is that you're saying that if Meta platforms deleted your accounts improperly, then you're out monetizing
thousands of dollars.
Accounts.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Can I just read this last thing real quick?
Sure. And then a couple moments. Then we're gonna
like I said, Meta disabled my accounts, and they say the reason was account integrity, as reflected in my evidence. For the next 3 months, that remained the only explanation provided. Now, just days before this hearing, Meta has submitted new claim into the docket alleging high-profile impersonation, which is that Matt Rule account, that Mimi account. This is an ex post facto justification, a rationale introduced after the fact to support a prior decision. If impersonation were truly a basis for the enforcement, it should have been identified at the time the accounts were disabled. It was not. I was never notified of the impersonation claim until last night, and I was not given any opportunity to respond to cure any alleged violation when it actually mattered as of last night. That late submission to this docket is therefore pretextual, does not reflect the original basis for the enforcement, but instead appears to be a justification constructed after the fact. Additionally, Meta has not established a clear causal connection between my accounts and that particular account, because they had nothing to do with each other. Neither one of them linked to each other. Neither one of them mentioned each other. And the disabling of my separate accounts. The lack of nexus further undermines the credibility of their position. Even if Meta has discretion under its terms, that discretion must be exercised with procedural fairness. Here, the shifting rationale, lack of notice, and timing of this new claim deprived me of a meaningful opportunity to respond. Your Honor, the sequence of events shows inconsistency, lack of due process, and a retroactive attempt to justify harm that was already occurred. For those reasons, I'm seeking those appropriate compensation for the damages.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hassan.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Vasquez, over to you. If you could please raise your right hand.
Yes.
All right. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth and the whole truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And then just so you're aware of what I'm looking at too. So I have your exhibits up. So if your intent is to kind of walk me through some of the terms of use and things of that nature, you can give me PDF page numbers and I can follow. Yeah. So go ahead.
Okay. Sounds good. So just some background from our end. The plaintiff is a user of Instagram, which is a free service that Meta owns and operates. As a condition of signing up for Instagram, just like any other user, the plaintiff agrees to the Instagram terms of use, which is a written contract that governs the plaintiff's use of Instagram. And this is our Exhibit A. So the plaintiff alleges that Meta wrongfully disabled their accounts. After receiving service of the plaintiff's complaint, Meta looked into the claim, but the plaintiff did not provide identifying account information.
The judge now focuses on the key issue before the court, whether the defendant violated the conditions of his release. The defense continues challenging the allegations, but the judge explains what evidence can be considered at this stage. The courtroom is no longer simply debating the accusations. The real question is whether the defendant can continue to remain out on bond.
Nebraska football coach Matt Rule through the Instagram account at matt.rule.rules. Meta is not liable for the $10,000 in damages that the plaintiff seeks because Meta's disablement of the plaintiff's account was justified under the Instagram terms of use, which bar the plaintiff's claims and specifically disclaim the damages that the plaintiff alleges. So now getting into the exhibits. Sorry, go ahead.
I think it would be helpful for me if you could point me to where in the terms of use you're saying Meta disclaims those types of damages.
Yes, sorry, we're getting into that.
Okay.
Yeah,
all
we're
right.
getting now.
Okay.
Start getting into all of our terms of use and whatnot. So first, Meta had the right to disable the plaintiff's Instagram account for violating the Instagram terms of use. So this would be at our Exhibit A, page 6 of 9, section 6. So under the Instagram terms of use, the plaintiff authorized Meta to remove any content if Meta believed it violated the terms of use, Meta's policies, or its community standards. The plaintiff also agreed that Meta could refuse to provide or stop providing Instagram to protect Meta's community or services, to mitigate Meta's risk or legal exposure, or if the plaintiff violated Meta's terms of use, policies, or community standards. Again, this is at page 6 of 9 at section 6. So now to jump over to Exhibit B, this would be our community standards for authentic identity representation at page 2 of 3. So the Instagram community standards for authentic identity representation in effect when Meta had disabled the plaintiff's account prohibited accounts that impersonate another person. The Meta policy on impersonation also states that if you intend to parody, express support for, or show interest in another person or business, you must make it clear to others that you do not represent and are not authorized to speak on behalf of that person or business. You should, at a minimum, ensure that the name, bio, and username of your additional profile make your intentions abundantly clear. This is our Exhibit D now at page 1. So into the specific violation, the plaintiff violated this community standard by creating a parody account of Nebraska football coach Matt Rule through the Instagram account at matt.rules, which did not follow Meta's guidelines. Therefore, Meta was justified in disabling this account. So this account was the source of the disablement for the other two linked accounts. And this account had the bio of Nebraska HC, so Nebraska head coach, with no attempt to assert that the account was not actually Nebraska head coach Matt Rule. Furthermore, a post made, which we submitted yesterday as Exhibit E, though I don't know if it was received, and we did share that with Mr. Hassan as well. But this would be a post made that shows a clear example of violating conduct, where the caption was, "I'm Matt Rule. Welcome to my Instagram page. I use this account when I want to troll people and can't use my official account. Believe me, I'm Matt Rule." So on Instagram, it's very obvious that you simply cannot state that you are another person because it will violate our guidelines. So the plaintiff claims that anyone would be able to tell that it's an account that's not actually him. However, again, our policy on impersonation is clear. You, as the Instagram user, have the responsibility to make it clear that you are not the person you are claiming to be. This post and the bio in no way establish that this is a parody account. This itself presents a legal risk for Meta as well, as we cannot allow a high-profile impersonating account to continue on our platforms. So the plaintiff also claims the plaintiff suggests that this account was the last one to be disabled. However, this was actually the first to be disabled. So based on our investigation, the Instagram user matt.rules was disabled on September 11th, 2025. The Instagram user Husker VB Network was disabled on December 12th, 2025 for account integrity. And Instagram user Beach VB Network was disabled on December 25th, 2025 for account integrity. Now, just for context, linked accounts are not disabled until our team can positively confirm that the accounts are linked together. So that's why they wouldn't all be banned at once or disabled at once. And while investigating, our team may interact with the disabled account and can temporarily re-enable the accounts to review data. However, that doesn't mean that the account was wrongfully disabled. It just happens to be that our investigative team is going through the data. And this could explain the March 11th disablement notification, as our team was conducting their investigation at the time. So further, under Meta's account integrity policy, which is the main point in the plaintiff's claim, Meta reserves the right to disable accounts that are owned by the same person as the offending account. So this is at our Exhibit C at page 2. Although the plaintiff makes reference to the other accounts, these were rightfully disabled as well because they are linked to the offending account. The plaintiff's claims that we are shifting reasoning for disablement is incorrect. Meta uses account integrity notification as a catch-all sort of notification for certain violations, namely when an account has linked accounts and those are being disabled for violating. The volleyball accounts were disabled for being linked to a profile that violated our standards on high-profile impersonation, thus making the volleyball accounts disabled for integrity violations. So the plaintiff also claims that other accounts are linked to these accounts, but our team was not able to confidently link the referenced currently active accounts with the deactivated accounts. In fact, our team did not review the active accounts because we were unaware of them. They didn't appear to be linked to the disabled accounts or the violating account on our end. This could be for reasons of different emails or phone numbers or different signals on the other accounts, but we do make a good effort to make sure that we could confidently link offending accounts with other accounts. So next, Meta is not legally responsible for any interruptions in the plaintiff's access to Instagram. Under the Instagram terms of use, the plaintiff accepts Meta's disclaimer of any guarantee that Instagram would be safe, secure, and work perfectly all the time. This is at page 7 of 9, section 7.3. And finally, the Instagram terms of use specifically disclaim the damages that the plaintiff seeks. So this would be Exhibit A, page 7 to 8 of 9, section 7.3. So under the Instagram terms of use, the plaintiff agreed to Meta's disclaimer of warranties to the fullest extent of the law and agreed to cap Meta's liability under the Facebook terms of service to the greater of $100 or the amount the plaintiff paid to Meta in the past 12 months. And also agreed to Meta's specific disclaimer of liability for lost profits, revenues, information or data, and consequential, special, indirect, exemplary, punitive, or incidental damages. Here, the plaintiff's consequential damages for economic harm are disclaimed. So the Instagram terms of use specifically bar such damages. Additionally, the plaintiff has not produced evidence to us that they lost $5,000 for each of the accounts, and the plaintiff seems to ultimately be seeking an arbitrary monetary amount for having his accounts rightly disabled. And just to tie it all up, Meta's its own private company with its own enforcement policies, and when you sign up for Instagram, you're agreeing to the terms of service, the terms of use, where you know that you have to abide by our guidelines. And given that the plaintiff did not abide by our guidelines, the accounts were rightly disabled.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Vasquez. One follow-up question for you. So just so I get the timeline right here. So it sounds like Mr. Hassan engaged. So I'm looking at section 6 of the terms of use. It's on page 6, I believe, of Exhibit A. And it outlines it says there in the first paragraph, if you believe your account has been terminated in error or you want to disable or you want to disable or permanently delete an account, consult Help Center. And then so is there a if an account gets disabled and somebody wants to dispute that deletion, I understand apart from the arbitration clause, and I know there's a carve out for small claims, is there a dispute process like through the Help Center that folks use?
We do have an appeal process in place. Usually when accounts are rightfully disabled, they're not going to get much help from the Help Center if our review proves that that the disablement was justified. But there is an appeal dispute that people can use.
Okay. And did Mr. Hassan use that process in this case? Are you aware of?
I'm not aware of that. Yeah.
Okay. Do you know, is that part of your exhibits where that it's talked about that there's that internal appeal process?
I don't believe so. I don't believe that it's a part of our own exhibits.
And I don't expect I would be if he didn't utilize that.
It's in my
Okay.
exhibits, Your Honor.
It is?
Yep, it's under exhibits for.
The hearing ends with a major consequence for the defendant. After considering the arguments and the alleged violation of the court's conditions, the judge revokes his bond and orders him back into custody. The next hearing is scheduled, but for now, the defendant is no longer free on release.